Hello and welcome. I am Torie Henderson with lifecoachingforparents.com, and I am here with LeAnn Kovar. She is our
Hello.
special guest today because we are going to talk about a tiny goal challenge. So, LeAnn, I would love to hear how you came up with the idea for a tiny goal challenge. What was the motivation?
It started, I think the first time I experienced a tiny goal really was impactful for me. And that was several years ago when I was your client. And I was frustrated about my exercise kind of habits. And I had tried these goals and I never could complete what I set out to do. And so you really encouraged me to make my goals smaller. And I was very confused by that. I'm like, smaller? Like, how is just this tiny little walk ever going to make a difference, make me a fit person, etc. And you encouraged me to stick with it, and I did. And so I got to experience like kind of I think of it as magic of tiny goals firsthand, which is once I started on my little tiny goal, which was very easy to do. So even when I felt kind of crummy, I was having a rough day, I was super grumpy, I just didn't want to do it. I was like, all I need to do is get out there and walk. I think it was like for 20 minutes. It was a very small goal. Very, for me at that time, that was a very, very attainable goal. And so I just committed to that tiny little thing and kept doing it. And like a month later, I'm like, oh, I have a start of a habit now. And then 2 months later, I'm like, I have a really solid habit. And the more I went, the more I saw that, I would get out for those 20 minutes, which would get me out the door, which was my hardest thing a lot of the times.
Hmm.
And I would just keep going. And so I would do longer walks and I'd incorporate hills and I'd meet a friend sometimes. And so these morning walks became just a part of my life. They're just like a very solid habit. And it all started with, hey, LeAnn, why don't you make that goal really small?
And it was just walking out the door, like not
Mhm.
driving anywhere, like close to home,
So simple.
keeping it simple because what it does is it reduces the resistance, right? So you hear that voice in your head going like, "Oh, but the kids need me," and the kids are like still sleeping. You're like, "Ah, not really," like the
Right.
argument. So like, "Oh, I should really get breakfast started," or "But I'm in the mood to work." But it's when it's so easy that it makes it more obvious. Like that's just resistance.
Yeah,
So
totally.
yay! So now you've got this very solid uh habit that's not even just for physical well-being, but it's also like your sort of mental, emotional
It's so my list of
sanctuary.
like why I continue doing this is super long. And part of it is because I feel better physically, but mental, emotional, like, and I just love being out there. Now I just like it's just part of my life that I really enjoy. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I get to benefit from seeing your beautiful photos that you post on
oh yeah,
Facebook when you're
thank
out
you.
there.
That's part of what I enjoy is finding pretty pictures. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're going to bring your tiny goal challenge into the Face Supermom is Getting Tired Facebook community. So
Yay.
tell me, and so this is going to be a daily thing. We're going to have daily posts and support and encouragement and troubleshooting throughout the week. And we're going to start on Monday, March 11th. So this coming Monday.
Yeah.
And LeAnn, tell me, like, who do you think this challenge is good for? The Tiny Goal Challenge. Who is that designed for? A good match.
It's so I think there's a variety of people. So it could be like me who there's this thing I want to do and I just can't quite make it happen. So a tiny goal could be a great way to make something attainable that you really want to do. It can also be something if you are like, here's this thing I want to have done, but I don't really want to do it, like organizing my garage. The action doesn't sound very fun, but gosh, I want to organize garage. And so making that into just a little bite-sized thing can like help you get there. It's also really good for if you just have this vague idea, I want to do a thing, but I don't know where to start. So if you're like an I don't know where to start person, it can be great. Or if you've gotten discouraged in the past, like I like with my exercise goal, I'm like, oh, I've tried this and I always fail. Da, 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 da. So if you have a history of that, like a tiny goal can be a very encouraging way to like, let's get back in, let's have a win, let's feel that like sense of achieving something. Um, yeah, and anyone I approach this tiny goal challenge with a lot of compassion, self-compassion. And so if you want to feel like you're in safe, like gentle hands, like this is a really good environment.
This is not CrossFit
Mm-mm.
or nothing against CrossFit, but
We could
there's some
probably
people
tiny
that
goal CrossFit.
they love goals. They
Hmm.
love to set goals. They love to
Hmm.
strive to achieve them. There's people out there that like that traditional kind of goal
Yeah,
setting and they put the poster on the board
go
and everything.
big. Yeah, it works really
But
well for some people.
right, so this is really for everybody else
Right.
who does not love that and finds that,
Yeah.
like I said, they start and they fail or they get
Mm.
overwhelmed or they feel like it's not doing enough.
Yeah.
It's not like, what's the point if I'm not getting like the rewards, like
Hmm.
you're cleaning out like one drawer per day and you've got an entire house to get through. It's very easy to get discouraged because you're not getting like the immediate benefit of why you're doing it. So I think the tiny goal challenge is really good for all those circumstances.
Yeah, definitely.
So if anybody has like questions while we're going through it, LeAnn and I will be in the Supermoms Getting Tired Facebook group and ready to help and give you a like LeAnn said, a very like gentle, loving, safe space where
Hmm.
you can it's like permission to struggle, to mess
Yeah.
up, but then like
Yeah.
to
Just
continue
be
to
human, like show up as your whole human self and like try something, like try and a really small bite-sized approach. See what happens.
I like to think of it as uh, goals are doing the hard thing until it becomes easy.
Love that.
And so we're going to start you off instead of doing the hard thing and making it very hard. We're going to start the hard thing in a very gentle, easy way. So we're going to
Hmm.
start do it easy until it becomes easy.
Hmm. Yep. I love that.
So any tips on like if someone's listening and they're like, okay, what goal should I choose?
So anything that I would go again, going with easy. Like if there's something that just you've really been wanting to do, like how can you make that super tiny? So if you've really been wanting to learn to needlepoint, that's a big thing, right? That if it's a brand new skill, the learning a brand new skill is a big thing. But like maybe you could find a small way to do it. Maybe you're going to spend 10 minutes a day watching YouTube videos or trying your needlepoint beginning stitches. Um, so yeah, I would just choose something that sounds really interesting to you and then find a way to make it really small, even maybe smaller than you think it should be. And because you can always make it bigger, but starting really small is just a great way to ease in this very gentle way.
So when I did this with you, my tiny goal was to stop eating when I don't remember the percentage, it was like 70% full or something like that, like 80% full, because I was having digestive issues and I thought that that could help if I wasn't, overfilling. And so it was really great because eating was something that was like happening multiple times a day. And so that was for me, and just to keep it on my awareness. And sometimes I did it and sometimes I didn't, but it was overall, like you could see because I was getting reminders all the time about it, that it was really good. So, like, I would say for this exercise, like something that you could do on the daily
Yeah.
might be better than something that's like, oh, once a week. Like, I want to
Yep.
exercise this week, or,
Yeah.
you know, I want to clean out
Something
the
that
garage on
benefits.
Saturday. This is
Right.
more of like a kind of a daily, okay, can I do one box, sort through one box in my garage per
Yeah. Like
day?
benefits from repetition or can be broken up. And it's a good way to play with like, can you break it up? I am a big fan of having a whole day to do a project. I love being able to focus and just drill down, and that's my only thing. My life doesn't normally like allow for that, right? I have other stuff. And so this I actually have with tiny goals I have played with like, well, maybe let me just see if I can do 10 minutes a day in my garage or whatever and see if it makes a difference. And so because that was hard for me to do because I'm like 10 minutes isn't going to make a difference. But because I had committed to sticking with this like, 7-day challenge or whatever, I did. And I was like, oh, it does make a difference. That's the thing I can do. Like now that's a tool I have that I can apply in other areas. It's been really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm trying to think what I'm gonna do. I might even just do
Yeah.
like lay on my yoga mat
So good.
every day. Because once
Yeah.
I'm laying on a yoga mat, I'm gonna do
Yeah.
some stretches. Like I don't
Oh,
even
that's so
need,
good. I love that one. Yeah.
but if I could just get myself to lay on the floor
Yeah.
on a mat,
Yeah.
then whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great way to like define a goal is like what's just the first step? Because like for me on the walks, it was like get my shoes on, get out the door, which is how I thought about it. Just get my shoes on, walk out the door. And then whatever happens, like, yeah, I love that
Yeah,
one.
so it's maybe thinking about like that beginning step of
Hmm.
what is the um that first thing. Like if you want, so you wanted to go plant-based and you for a week, right? The first step would be like not buying any meat at the grocery store.
Right.
So then you don't have it in your house or something like that if you wanted to. Or, meditating. It might be to like set the timer or find an app to listen to or find a
Hmm.
location and kind of thinking about like what's
Uh-huh.
the first thing, and then every day all I do is repeat.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I had someone who she wanted to like listen to her audiobooks and podcasts more, but they had gotten into disarray. So her tiny goal was all around like, I'm going to figure out what books I have and I'm going to organize my podcasts so that she then had these things to enjoy. And I think she did it by like an amount of time per day that she was going to work on this. And she felt she was able, like partway through the challenge, she was able to like start enjoying the fruits of her labor. So it's pretty neat.
You just made me think of another one. We need to clear
Okay.
out iCloud storage.
Oh, that's good. Yes.
That'd be a good tiny goal.
Yes. Working on my
Unsubscribe.
photos. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
unsubscribes. Yeah.
All
There's so
right.
many
Well,
good
sounds
ones.
good. You're getting me fired up. All my
Hmm.
ideas. So now I've got some time to think about it before Monday so we can all work together on our tiny goals.
So excited.
Yes. So jump into the Supermoms Getting Tired Facebook group and we will see you there.